Okay, that was set up. Okay, some of these folks being too dramatic. Wow, she's hitting her friend. No comment. Ooh, she hit him. Assault. Wait, what'd you say?
I can't see most of the video. I can see you in two places, but it's like the video needs to be slid over. There we go.
Yeah, it's got the comments out here. Yeah, you're right. Hold on. Let me see. Um, yeah, I don't have a way of that's how he recorded it, I guess. I don't have a way of moving it. She says your forehead's too big. No, she didn't. See, there we go. This guy's he's at it again.
I know who said that.
Yep,
It's
you
crazy.
already know. You already know. We gotta start filtering these people out, you know. Some people's siblings. Uh okay. I think that's it. That's all I could find this week. We gonna get started. Welcome to the Blacksmith Podcast. It is Saturday, and we are on our financial topics. Um, I guess to get right into it, we're gonna do some reactions today to start. So we're gonna do some reactions, not to that hee hee ha ha video that was just up there, but we're gonna do some reactions to some of these videos. So get ready. The information usually comes at you kind of fast. I am doing chapters right now, so it'll make it very easy for y'all to find when you watch it back on YouTube, or if you send it to someone else, you can tell them they can skip right to it. But let's get our first reaction going. Let me note the time first.
Most people on track to becoming rich have no idea that they're actually in the process of getting rich, and here are four subtle signs that tell me that you are. Sign number one is that the things that used to feel like sacrifices, they no longer feel like sacrifices anymore. So when you are starting out and you're trying to save every single dollar, it might suck a lot to maybe pack your own lunch, or perhaps you're not going out on Friday and you're getting that feeling of FOMO. But after a while, those sacrifices start to become normal and you might actually enjoy them. So if you are noticing that sacrifices that used to bring you discomfort no longer do, then perhaps you are on the path to secretly getting rich. Sign number two is that you don't feel the need to talk about money. The pattern I've noticed is that a lot of people who talk about how much they make, what they spend their money on, how much things cost, those are the people that rarely have money. The people that have the money are really quiet about their wealth. Sign number three is that you are earning more, but you don't want to spend more money. So this is a really good sign if you get a pay raise or a promotion or even a bonus and you don't want to go out and spend all of that money immediately. A lot of people come into money and then they spend it all. So if you are staying away from this habit, I think that's a really good sign. And sign number four is that you've stopped comparing yourself to others. So I think on social media, this is a big trap where you see someone's life as a highlight reel, and that's actually not real life. The truth is that you don't really understand what's going on behind the scenes. The new car that you might see that someone posts on Instagram, it might be leased, or perhaps they have no money in their bank account, or it's all on a credit card or in debt. So let me know how many signs you got in the comments. Most people on track to
All right.
becoming rich.
So we heard the video the first time all the way through. Now let's go down. Let's go through and break it down. Um, so showing me y'all can see his video fairly well. It was just that TikTok video. They had like half of the screen with the video and half of the screen with comments. This one isn't like that. He recorded this one pretty darn good. And this is Humphrey, by the way, at Humphrey. I actually am subscribed to his channel. He puts out a lot of good content. At least I think I'm subscribed to Humphrey. He puts out a lot of good financial topics, and you can obviously tell he knows what he's talking about, and he works in finance, or did. All right, so let's go back through it. Let's break this down. Let's take some notes.
Most people on track to becoming rich have no idea that they're actually in the process of getting rich.
Now, when he says getting rich, remember, folks, there is a distinction between rich and wealthy. What is the difference between rich and wealthy? Okay, we've broken this down on the show many times before. Rich is pretty much saying that you have a high income. However, that income, I'm not looking at it because we've broken it down before, but I put it on the screen for you guys. Rich usually denotes a high income but high consumption lifestyle. That is the kicker. It usually is a high income. So this would be your Hollywood stars. This would be your musical artists, your I don't know, your executives in corporate America, your sometimes managers of lawyers, doctors, these folks with a high income, that's rich, right? But then to complete what rich actually usually means, I would say 80% of the time, what rich usually means, it means that they also went out and bought a $2 or $3 million home instead of a $500,000 or $300,000 home. And I'm not talking about California. Get high price areas out of your mind. I mean, like a Georgia, somewhere that's like even kill below the cost of living or at the cost of living state. In California, let's say they bought a $10 million mansion, right? Just to even the scales, right? This a person that earns $500,000 a year in North Carolina, but they bought a $4 million home, right? You need the high income with the high consumption. Or they bought a house that made sense, but they bought two $100,000 cars, and their car notes are $1,100 a piece. High consumption, right? So if you look here, rich short term, income based, high income, we just talked about that. Materialistic focuses on visible luxury items. High liability, they often carry debt, mortgages, car loans to sustain the lifestyle. Paycheck dependent, if they stop working, the lifestyle fails. This is where you will see like MC Hammer went broke. He was on Oprah years ago. I was watching it with my mom, and thank God, because I never forgot this. The man was bragging about having a 1,000-piece wardrobe, sunglasses, shirts, pants, shoes, watches, bracelets, chains, all that stuff. And I don't know if he counted jewelry as a part of it. I think those are accessories. But he said 1,000-piece wardrobe. So shirts, pants, shoes, jackets, whatever, right? He had 1,000 pieces of that he can mix and match. He wasn't bragging when he went broke. It wasn't hammer time when he went broke. It was time to sell those Grammys to the highest bidder. And that sucks. I'm not laughing at it, obviously. Toni Braxton went broke. She had to sell her Grammys. Like, it's not funny, but it's a cycle that keeps repeating itself because why does history repeat itself? No one listens the first time. You cannot earn money and just throw it to the wind and expect that it will continue. You have to keep earning that amount of money. And a lot of times, if you're a musical artist, you don't realize not everybody's going to be Drake and have a 2-decade run. Not everybody's going to be Michael Jackson and span across he was born in 58, and I think they got popular when he was about 8 years old. So not everybody's going to be Michael Jackson and go start from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, a span across 4 or 5 decades. Not everybody's going to do it and be hot. Have a hot single in every single decade. Be on the top 10 of the top Billboard top 100s. Not everybody's going to do that if you're a musical artist. Now, learn the game you're in. You can go from being a hot artist to being a producer of hot new artists. That way, you'll always stay in the game. You keep signing artists that are hot. It keeps you as a hot producer, and they keep producing. But that's you. You have to learn the game you're in. Anyway, so when he says rich, just understand high income, high consumption. Wealthy talks about long term. So you don't have to have a high income here, but you do, in a nutshell, you save and invest your money. And you buy assets, not liabilities. So you're not buying cars, you're not buying purses, you're not buying clothes and apparel. You don't have Amazon packages showing up every week, every day, and stuff like that. Because if you do, you are consistently buying wants. You're not buying needs. Those are seen as liabilities because they're worth nothing. But if you buy assets, so stocks, homes, what else appreciates? Mutual funds, saving CDs. You have to buy things that appreciate. Um, so there's that. When he talks about rich versus wealthy, now let's continue with the video. So when he says getting rich, he's talking about getting wealthy.
And here are 4 subtle signs that tell me that you are. Sign number 1 is that the things that used to feel like sacrifices, they no longer feel like sacrifices anymore.
What are you
So
talking
when
about?
you're starting out and you're trying to save every single dollar, it might suck a lot to maybe pack your own lunch, or perhaps you're not going out on Friday and you're getting that feeling of FOMO. But after a while, those sacrifices start to become normal and you might actually enjoy them. So if you are noticing that sacrifices that used to bring you discomfort no longer do, then perhaps you are on the path to secretly getting rich.
Stop right there. So he says saving every dollar. I told this story in December. I'm gonna tell it again. So look, I grew up playing video games. I actually love video games, but just like anything, like food that's not good for you, I stay away from them. And why do I do that? Because I'll never get anything done if I'm in front of a TV, a 65-inch screen TV with a controller in my hand. I'll never get anything done. I have games on my phone. I put them all the way on the back screen, and I have quite a few of them, but they never get open. In fact, they're in the deep sleep because I'll never get anything done. I don't know why there's this urge to have them on my phone, but I have an urge to, when I see a promo for a new RPG or something, I'm like, let me download that. But then I download it, install it, I play it for 5 minutes, I turn it off, and I never touch it. The most played game on my phone is Retro Bowl and Retro Bowl College. It's, you play a quick football game, 10 minutes, turn it off, and you go on with your day. And that kind of feeds my need. I'll play it 5-10 minutes a day, and that's about it. That's all I give to it. But what he's talking about, I don't even know where I forgot where I was going with this. In December, I went to Best Buy, and there's this thing for your phone. I forget what it's called, but it's basically you put it in the middle and it has the controller handle of a PlayStation on the left and on the right. Something like skeleton or something, but you put the phone in the middle and hook the little connector to where you would put the charger at the bottom here. And you can access games from your library if you pay for like the subscription through Sony. Man, I went to Best Buy 3 different times, picked it up, had it in my hand, was ready to go to the register, and I started looking at everything on the back of it just to steel my hands. Don't walk to the register. I was walking, so I stopped and I started looking at the back of it, and I'm like, I want this thing. I want this thing. I want this thing. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. And then I picked up the Nvidia one that's like $1,100, and then the other one's like $700. I picked up one that AMD got, and I went back to Best Buy 3 different times, and every time my urge got less and less and less. When I went the second time, 80% I still wanted it, but when I went back the third time, it was like 50%. But when I walked away at 50%, it killed it. I never went back for it because I asked myself, how much do you play video games? Very little. My kids play. It's okay. I had my time of playing video games as a kid. I'm fine. It's still an urge, and sometimes I want to play to get my mind off stuff or whatever. and it's fun, but I don't really play video games like that. So if I buy this, I'm going to jump out the gate using it, and two things are going to happen. One, I'm going to stop playing very soon because I don't play video games. And then two, what's going to happen is I'm taking time away from something else in my day that I could be doing. And I'm pretty productive with my time. I have to be, right? So when he talks about sacrificing things that you used to do no longer taking a toll on you, not playing video games no longer takes a toll on me, but he's saying saving every dollar. So that's what I was getting at. I didn't buy that. And so now I didn't have to shell out money for it or swipe a credit card and get charged interest on it right now. I don't have to pay it off because I just didn't buy it, right? If you get in the habit of pulling the first thing up you find on Amazon, looking at it, and telling yourself why you don't need it, what will end up happening is that you'll find that when you open something, if you do it 10 times, when you really want something and you just push and buy a place order, you'll find that you'll start, when you pull something up, before you push place order, you'll ask yourself, do I need this? And if the answer is no, you'll say, well, it's just something else on a credit card I have to pay for. I really don't need this. I have a purple one. Why don't I just wear that? I already have protein at home. I don't like the flavor. Let me mix it with something else. I don't need this protein. Whatever it is, I'm just rattling off ideas. So that's what he's talking about. If you stop buying stuff and just put your money away, that's how we go broke. It's just overbuying things, right? Swiping credit cards. That's not our money that we have to pay for. All right, man. Good to see you. Thank you for joining this week. Appreciate it. Do your thing. So the number one thing is stopping money from going out of your hand, buying liabilities, i.e. stuff you don't need. Let's get to number two.
And number two is that you don't feel the need to talk about money. The pattern I've noticed is that a lot of people who talk about how much they make, what they spend their money on, how much things cost, those are the people that rarely have money. The people that have the money are really quiet about their wealth. Sign number three is it.
All right, let's talk about number two. And this one's quick. He said sign number two is rarely talking about money, right? So then in that case, when you find these folks on YouTube Shorts, on Instagram, on TikTok, and they're throwing money, they're talking about money, usually that's money they already pulled out of the bank. That's money they have already spent. If they're showing you physical money, that's money they already pulled out of the bank. Number two, if they're showing you the Lambo, they're not showing you that they have money. They're showing you that they spent money. So that Lamborghini that costs $500,000, $300,000, that Ferrari that costs $500,000, because Ferrari I think is a bit more expensive than Lamborghini. Now there's a lot of different tiers of Lamborghini. So they can get $2.2 million worth of expensive. But whatever the cost, they're not showing you the money. They're showing you where they spent their money. Think about that. It's a mindset shift. If they showed you physical money, okay, that's money you made already. They're not showing you the bank account. Notice they'll never show you the bank account. And that's where I was getting to. They're not showing you their bank account. And they'll say, well, if they show you the bank account, somebody will rob them. They could show up and rob you because you're showing the money that you earned, that you have, that you pulled out of the bank already. They could show up to rob your car that's parked outside, your Lambo, right? So think about that. Use your brain. They're not showing you the money they had. Notice they never show you a stock portfolio. They never do that. That is invested money. That's money that's actually growing. That's impressive. Showing you they spent money on a 100-inch screen TV. Showing you they spent money on a car. Both of those things have one thing in common. They cost them money. I guess two things. I put up two things. Both of those things have two things in common. It's money that was already spent to get it, and they're depreciating in their value. Because if you bought a 100-inch screen TV last year, try to get the same amount of money out of it this year when you sell it to someone. They're probably on sale in a store for 20% less than what you bought it for. Good luck. It's depreciating. So it's an asset because you can sell it for money. So that's where depreciating asset comes from. Like this speaker, I could put this Boom 3 speaker. Y'all saw it was dusty too. This speaker, I got, I don't know, 7 years ago. Maybe not that long ago, 6 years ago, 5 years ago, something like that. I could put this on Facebook Marketplace for $10. Somebody would buy it, but I can't get the full 49, $50, right? It's an asset because I could sell it, but it's depreciating. Anyway, I said this one was quick, but that's what he's talking about. Now, moving on to number 3, I think.
You are earning more, but you don't want to spend more money.
Yeah.
So this is a really good sign if you get a pay raise or promotion or even a bonus, and you don't want to go out and spend all of that money immediately. A lot of people come into money and then they spend it all. So if you are staying away from this habit, I think that's a really good sign. And
all right, so number 3. Now, the most important thing with number 3 is having a budget. How do you get a promotion, a raise, or a bonus and you don't spend it all? First and foremost, you need to know where your money's going, how much money is coming in, what you net, your net pay, not before taxes, which is gross, after taxes, net, what you are catching in your net, not the fish that got away, right? So you need to know what's coming in, and then you need to know your bills, what your expenses, what's going out, what has to come in, what is going to come in, what has to go out, and then in between, what you would spend on things you don't really need. So subscriptions to Netflix, your fast food, your gasoline, your utilities or whatever. Figure that, well, that's in the expenses. Never mind. Like entertainment, pleasure kind of stuff. And then that's the spending plan, right? So the budget is what's coming in, what's going out. The spending plan is put all your pleasures and your nice to haves in there. Now you have your full budget / spending plan. So if you got a raise, how much is the raise? That's what you need to know, because that comes out of the spending plan and goes separately somewhere else in a different savings account. And how do you do it? You make an auto draft or auto transfer from your bank every month. That $700 extra, which is $8,400 a year, comes out automatically and goes to this account. That's how you don't spend bonuses, raises, or I think he said promotion, but the promotion leads to the raise. All right.
And sign number 4 is that you stopped comparing yourself to others. So I think on social media, this is a big trap where you see someone's life as a highlight reel, and that's actually not real life. The truth is that you don't really understand what's going on behind the scenes. The new car that you might see that someone posts on Instagram, it might be leased, or perhaps they have no money in their bank account, or it's all on a credit card or in debt. So let me know how many signs you got in the comments.
Let's talk about number 4. Let me go back really quickly. Let me hear the whole thing again.
The new car that you
Okay, there we go. I only needed to see what was on the screen. Don't compare yourself to others. Look, this is how we get ourselves in trouble in all aspects of life, is social media. The highlight reel. Stop comparing your life to others in social media. And listen, what I'm about to say is not just money, relationship wise. These couples you see that's constantly in love and kissing and doing all these pranks and stuff. 2 years later, you'll see them getting divorced or they broke up. There was I guess, an Instagram famous couple that recently just broke up, and they were always online, putting their life online. And see, that's number 1. Your life, think about how many lives in the history of the world have never been photographed, have never had a camera in their face, have never been followed around for 24 hours a day. When you do that, the moment you put a camera, even babies notice it. The moment you put a camera in the baby's face and they were doing something cute, they stop. Right? The moment you do it to a toddler, they stop. They start laughing, and it's like, oh, I know what you're doing. You're trying to record me because it's weird, right? The moment you put somebody, I'm gonna get to that in a second because amen, you're exactly right. The moment you put somebody on camera, it stops being reality. So when they all the way back to the 90s, when they started The Real World and they had that house, I think in San Francisco, wherever it was, I was really young watching this. I think it started in like 94. I saw it when I was about 8 years old. Um, the Real World, the moment you had cameras inside of a house, it's no longer reality because they know there's cameras in the house. The only way you could capture them in the wild, in their actual natural state, is you don't tell them there's cameras in the house. They can't know. They can't even have a hint of the cameras being in the house. But then watch this. You get lawsuits because you recorded them without their consent and without their prior knowledge. Bada boom, bada bing, because they would be in their true selves. You know why these lawsuits jumped out? Because people were doing adult time and being recorded. People were saying racist statements and that got out to the public. And so now people are like, that guy's racist. And oh, shoot, I would have never said that if the camera wasn't here. I would have never done that if the camera wasn't here, right? Whatever it was, you could go down the list of a bunch of other things. I just pulled out two good examples of things people probably wouldn't have done if they knew the camera was there, right? Flirting or acts of violence, punching that guy, the annoying guy in the face, right? You probably wouldn't have done it if the camera was there. So it's not reality. So that's what he's talking about here. If it's on the highlight reel, stop comparing your life to it because it's not real. He just said too, they're showing you the expensive car, but remember, it might be leased. I never thought to say that. A lot of people do this. In Miami, there's some real money in Miami, right? But they go down to Miami and they pull up next to you in a Lambo. It's rented for the day, $2,000. It came from a rental car place, or if you're a native to Miami and you don't want anybody to know you got it from a rental car, you know what you do? You go on Turo and you rent it from somebody private, right? Privately. Nobody knows, right? But if they know that person and that person drives that Lambo, isn't that Zach's Lambo? Man, that's Zach's Lambo. You rented that, right? So they're showing you, what they do, and this is how all these videos started. They would rent a car for the day, $2,000, and they do all the stuff they plan to do. They drive it on the highway, they race people, they record themselves, they pull up next to girls, they shoot the gold digger pranks. Hey, can I get your number? No, I have a boyfriend. And then they go, okay, they walk with the keys to the car. Then she turns around, looks up. Oh, hey, I just thought about it. We're not really on speaking terms. Oh, I thought you had a boyfriend. Oh, yeah, it's just somebody I was talking to. Oh, but you have a nice car. Oh, nah. They let them in the car, and then they about to pull off. You know what? Get out. You just want me for my money. They shoot all the pranks they can shoot with it, and then they return it at the end of the day, and you think that guy is wealthy, but then you start making him rich by clicking on the videos, watching video after video, and that's not even their car. And if it made them enough, if it got enough clicks, likes, and views, they work up enough money and they go rent the same color Lambo so you don't catch on. That's not their car. It's rented. It's leased, right? Stop comparing yourself to other people. And somebody said something in chat I was going to say, but it's okay. Comparison is the thief of joy. Put the camera on me. All right, look into my brown eyes. I'm full of it. I'm just kidding. So if you compare yourself, your relationship, your finances, your residence, if you constantly compare that stuff with other people, you are stealing your own joy. You might be content with your studio apartment because you might only be paying $1,200 a month for rent and have everything you need. Washer, dry. I know. Hey, look, I gotta open the chat. Sanchez, MVP. You know what? Let's heart hers, and then let's put a thumbs down on yours. No, I'm just playing. You get a 100, but we gonna heart hers. We love her. I don't know about you. Anyway, so if you if you hold on, let me do my own soundboard. I thought he was gonna do it. All right, so listen, sibling rivalry. What can I say? So what was I saying? Man, I'm old. I'm 39, folks. What was I talking about? Oh, comparison is a thief of joy. So you may have a studio apartment and you may have a bed, you may have a kitchen, you may have a washer, dryer, bathroom. You may have everything you need in that one bedroom apartment. But you know what? When you start looking at somebody who lives in a mansion or a 3 bedroom apartment, now you turn around and look at where you are staying, your residence, and you're like, this isn't good enough. But you're saving slash investing $3,000 a month in the $1,200 apartment. But then now what you do is you go get a 3 bedroom apartment. And now that costs you, $3,000. Now you can only save or invest $1,000. They have a brand new they have a brand new Kia Stinger. You have an 8-year-old Camry. So you can't afford the Stinger, but what you do is you go trade your 8-year-old Camry for a new Camry. Now you have a car note you didn't have before and your insurance goes up. Now you're only putting away $200 a month. See? Now, when you look at where you stay, there's 2 empty rooms that you're paying for. Nobody's in those rooms. You just put a plastic tote or a moving box in there or a chair or something random just to say you have something in the room. But it still smells like paint and the walls still echo because nobody's in those 2 rooms, but you're paying for them. Think about how many of you watching this video right now have too much house. Put in the comments. If you bought a house that's got 5 bedrooms and you got 2 kids and a wife, why are you paying for extra rooms? You pay by the square footage and the number of rooms. So take the square footage of those rooms, right? Add them up and divide by the total number of square feet in the house and do the same thing with the price. That's how much more you're paying for those extra rooms that you wouldn't have to pay for. Or you could just do it by the square footage. Take the square footage you paid per square foot for your house, add that up and multiply it. And that'll start making you feel bad about that big financial decision you made, but in hopes not to shame you, but to stop you. And I saw that, keeping up with the Joneses. So yes, it's the comparison. It's the thief of joy. To know about getting the difference on the cost of a car, sure. Relationships, if you're satisfied, why go looking for something to be upset about? So the same thing with relationships, right? And I know I'm going on a tirade here, but we're going to learn today. So you're going to learn today. But if you think about it, if you're constantly comparing his girl to yours, if you see her as more attractive or her as funny or her as taller, whatever you deem attractive or more pleasing, then in her, you'll start to look at your wife and look for things that's wrong with her. There might be nothing that's wrong with her, right? All right, let's get on to the next video. Let me timestamp this because I want y'all to be able to find this stuff really quickly. And I found that, it's actually better to do. And it gives you a higher score too on YouTube.
When I became a billionaire, I'm going to collab with you. Well, get to your first 10K, 100K, but never shoot too far. I think we always tell people to shoot far. Keep shooting. not shoot too far. First I gotta get my 10, then I gotta get my 100, then I gotta get my million, then I gotta get my 5 million, then I gotta get my 10 million, then I gotta get my 20 million, then I gotta get my 50 million, then I get my 100 million. If you got that mindset, you'll make it far. That's why I tell people, don't shoot too far, because you're gonna scare yourself out of the goal. Let's just say I'm trying to go to the NBA. Cool, that's the end goal. But for now, I need to be trying to make this goddamn AAU team and seeing how I can get in these summer camps. So it's like, keep your eyes on the next step. I wanted to be a millionaire too, but I didn't really think about being a millionaire. It came to me by me just saying, I'm gonna accomplish each goal at a time. I'm gonna keep going. That's all I knew. I knew I was gonna be a millionaire, and I knew I was gonna be one before 40. So I'm not gonna say a lie and say, oh, I had no plan to become one. Yes, I had a plan to become one. This shit was straight up just, nigga, I just need my first 10,000. Bro, I just need my first 20 now. I need my 30. I just kept going. So as long as you got that mentality, you're gonna go far, bro. You'll become a millionaire. When I became a billionaire,
All right. When I became a billionaire, I'm going to collab with you. Whoever wrote that in his comments, ridiculous. All right. Let me say this before I get sidetracked. I'll get to your comment. So this is Aristotle Investments, or Honey Drip Network is his brand. Aristotle, he is from ATL. I first found him on Earn Your Leisure a couple years back. He is a veteran. He served in the Army. He earned his first million actually when he was in the Army, because he worked and earned like $2,500 a month. His wife worked and she earned like $1,500 a month. What he did was they lived off of his paycheck, and he learned to invest. He invested her whole paycheck, right? He tells that story. Then he also got a hard skill. He learned it on his own. He started cutting his buddy's hair, and people saw that he could cut hair well. So they started coming to him. All the folks in his platoon started coming to him, and he would cut their hair. He was earning like $3,000 a month from cutting hair. It's a hard skill that it's a necessity, right? Why do you think when COVID shut everything down, they said essential workers only? Barbers came out because they're essential. People need haircuts, right? Your hair doesn't stop growing. Maybe in certain places, you know, it was down here before the first forehead wrinkle before, when I was 19. Imagine me like this, right? The hair all the way down here. It doesn't stop growing. It stops growing in certain places. But there's always new, younger guys that need hair. Stop it. There's always younger folks that need haircuts, and their hair grows all over, right? So get what I'm saying, right? That's who he is. Now, let's get to what he said. He talked about a simple method. You want me to sum this up in 5 seconds or less? Crawl, walk, run. The end. That's what he's saying. If you want to be a millionaire, he's saying don't shoot too big. Keep shooting. That was perfect. That was sage-like wisdom. He is named after one of the greatest philosophers in history, Aristotle. However, what he said, I don't want you to miss it. Do not shoot. Do not stop shooting. Just don't shoot too far. He said, don't shoot too far. Just keep shooting the right way, right? Shut it. So here's the thing about what he said. Crawl, walk, run. People say, I want to be a millionaire. Can you become 100 air first? Now that sounds crazy, but can you become 1,000 air first? Can you become a 10,000 air first? Do you know what millionaire actually means? Millionaire is your net worth. It is not having $1 million in the bank. Because if you have $1 million in the bank, but you owe $2 million on your house, you owe $100,000 on your car, you owe $200,000 in credit card worth of credit card debt, you have student loan debt of $500,000. That million gets reduced. Now you're negative. Your net worth, like most people's, is negative. Can you become 100 air first? You want Basically, what is happening is people want to be millionaires because it sounds great. Because the girls online on Instagram and TikTok said they will only date millionaires. First of all, those chicks are lying, first of all. Second of all, they want something that they're not even worth. Like the average woman is not worth $1 million. Yeah, her life, everybody's life has value. I don't mean it like that. Like, is she $1 million woman? The average woman's not, because the average dude's not. We're all average, right? The average dude's earning 50, 60 grand a year. Congratulations. That's the average woman's level, is the average dude, right? Average people go together, right? Anyway, get what I'm saying. Don't be spurred on by stupidity. Get off of social media. If you have $10,000 in the bank, but you owe $50,000 in student loans, your net worth is negative 40,000. To become a millionaire, you have to have $1 million in assets above what your debt is. So if you have $2 million in debt and you have $3 million, you're worth $1 million. That would make you a millionaire. So if you have 15 G's in the bank, you're not a 10,000aire if you owe on that car, student loans. You're subtract your assets from your liabilities. That's your net worth. Crawl, walk, run. You can't be a millionaire if you first doesn't get to $100 worth of net worth. All right, what we got in the comments? Let's read Sanchez's first because she is golden. It makes sense because the goal is more easily obtained. Once there, move to the next level. Yes, and that's what he's saying. Crawl first, walk, then run, then sprint, then fly. I don't know. I guess that would be the next one. All right, let's see. Have a master plan, but achieve micro goals along the way. Check them off to keep yourself going. I think we got the gist of this video here. There's a lot more I could say, but let's just get to the other one because we have another one to react to. Let's hear what he is going to say.
Yeah, we've done this generation a real disservice. I'm stunned that somebody didn't tell this young lady that life is work.
This is John Hope Bryant. I introduced Aristotle. Let me introduce Cuzzo. This is John Hope Bryant, financial mastermind. He invests in real estate, stock market, all kinds of stuff. But he's doing exactly what I am doing. I almost said want to do, but I have been doing this for 2 years now. Can y'all believe it? The Blacksmith Podcast has been on for 2 years, right? And it started just with a thought. Which you probably heard my door shut. That was my wife going out. She's the one that inspired me to make a podcast. I was just doing this in person in real life all the time. So anyway, this guy right here teaches seminars on financial investing and financial literacy. And he started a nonprofit organization, Operation Hope, I believe it's called, right? So that's who he is, Cuzzo. Now, let me back this up. We're going to watch the video first, and then we'll respond. I can't back this video up. What the? Okay, here we go.
On this generation a real disservice. I'm stunned that somebody didn't tell this young lady that life is work. Sorry, love is work. Non-love is laziness, and anti-love is evil. And evil exists, but it's very rare. Most people are just lazy, intellectually, spiritually, emotionally, physically, financially lazy. They want somebody to do the work for them. They don't want to anguish. They just want to shop. They want to have fun. That's not life. Only in the dictionary does the word success come before the word work because it's alphabetical. See this? People ask me, what's that number? It's Nelson Mandela's prison number, right? By the way, this came last. If anybody interested, this was the last thing I acquired. And
I got a number for you
last year because it was something my wife showed me, and I could decide to get it. But I've been rocking these here for a decade, right? And this is just hard work, hustle, and sacrifice. This is all religions of the world, right? This is the beads of Africa. Yeah, we've done this generation a real disservice.
Forget the end of the video because I don't know what he was just showing something, but we're gonna play it again and we're gonna listen to the first part and we'll react to that.
That somebody didn't tell this young lady that life is work. Sorry, love is work. Non-love is laziness, and anti-love is evil. And evil exists, but it's very rare. Most people are just lazy, intellectually, spiritually, emotionally, physically, financially lazy. They want somebody to do the work for them. They don't want to anguish. They just want to shop. They want to have fun. That's not life. Only in the dictionary does the word success come before the word work because it's alphabetical.
All right, stop it right there. Sage like wisdom. I love watching his content because you're always learning something, or he's always giving you a piece of wisdom to go mull over for the rest of the day. The only place you'll find success before work is in the dictionary because it's alphabetical. That is I believe you young folk call it bar. Okay. Life is work. Look, folks, um, being lazy is very easy, especially if you have the privilege of being lazy. And in America, we have the privilege of being lazy because grandpa worked and amassed this whole fortune. My parents have it easier, so they don't work as hard. So I'm not working at all. I'm sitting on the couch, got Cheeto dust in my beard. I don't have a beard, but you know what I mean. I'm playing Final Fantasy and Call of Duty all day. I might get up and go get something to eat at McDonald's and then drive back. At least I caught 2 minutes of sunlight. Um, and that's how some people live. But the reason why you'll see he reacted, that's a world star hip hop video. I think that crown is that's what that means. Yeah, it's the crown is a W and the S. That's world star. That video came from. I didn't see his reaction to the video. I only saw this one, so whatever. But you get the point. She's crying and screaming because she has to work so hard. Life is work. And here's the thing, right? No one gets to just sit at home all day and do nothing. Somebody's got to go earn a check, right? My wife is a homemaker, but guess what? She works all day. She gets up and opens all the windows. She opens the blinds, lets the light in, open the windows, lets the fresh breeze in, then vacuums the floors, then goes downstairs and upstairs. Let's stay upstairs. She tidies up the kids' rooms. If we need our laundry done, she does that. Now, you can argue, well, laundry's not how it was before. And I agree. She's not getting the scrubbing board with some soap or some powder and scrubbing it on. Here she puts it in there, presses 2 buttons, turns the dial and push start. I understand that. But when they come, they got to go in there. They got to come out and get transferred to the dryer. They got to go in there, come out, get folded, hung up, distributed to rooms. So there's some work involved. Vacuums the floors, cleans the bathroom upstairs, cleans our bathroom. That's what she was doing while I was on live the whole time. She came out, shower, got dressed, cleaned that whole bathroom, right? She go downstairs, she do the dishes, she takes the kids to school, picks the kids up, right? She's not just sitting here doing nothing. And she just started college a month or two ago. She just started taking 3 classes. She's going to be a forensics accountant. And she wants to learn bookkeeping and business management, right? So she's working. There ain't no soft life. All that stupid stuff that you see online, those are rich guys' wives, lifestyle from the 70s, 80s, and 90s that crept out into the public eye. You never saw rich ladies' lifestyles creep out into the public eye until social media came about, right? Those ladies can get up at 10 a.m. because a nanny got their kids up. Those ladies don't have to open their own blinds because a butler did it. Those women have cleaners, and I mean by and large, not all. I hate the stupid way we have to cover for, because somebody's going to be in the comments, well, my aunt is rich and she does. All right, dude, we're speaking to the majority. Nobody has a soft life. Somebody will take your dogs to the vet for you. Somebody will cut your own grass. Somebody does all that stuff. You got a millionaire husband. Okay, but most of us aren't there. We just talked about most net worths are negative, right? So if you really think about that, life is work. Somebody's got to go earn the money. Now, some have to work harder than others, but I'm going to tell you what makes you Warren Buffett. I'll tell you what makes you perpetually have to work, i.e., trade time for money. And I go find that Charlie Munger video back from December. I put clips up of it like last week or two, the last couple weeks. If you keep buying liabilities, he said every time you make a purchase that you don't need, every purchase that you didn't need is another chain around your neck, shackling you to working. I was like, oh, Lord, 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 you should have told me when I was 18. I would have walked past all those stupid pairs of sneakers. And I didn't even buy a lot of sneakers. I had like 3 pair. And I walked in them suckers until they were talking to me. But that's still, I might have had 1 pair, might have had 2 pair. You know what I mean? So that's just wisdom and knowledge I should have had early on in life. But listen, that's what makes us have to work harder. Warren Buffett, and here's the other thing. So spending money on stuff you don't need. And here's the other thing. If you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you'll work until you die. IRAs make money while you sleep, right? So a 401k, a 403b, a thrift savings plan, saving CDs makes money while you sleep. Money market accounts make money while you sleep. Stock market makes money while you sleep, especially if you're investing in crypto, then literally it can make money while you sleep. Just things like that. Real estate will make money while you sleep. What you got, Sanchez? You wouldn't have truly understood at that age unless you grew up in that type of household. You are correct. Yeah, mom and daddy couldn't teach me but what they knew, and they didn't know to say it like that, right? So I appreciate it more now, is what she's saying, because I'm 21 years older than what I just said, right? So I appreciate it more now because more of life has hit. All right. So that is the last reaction we have. Now let's get to, hold on, let me timestamp this now. 5150. Let's do this. All right, let's go to something else I found online. I found this thing. This Fire 2.0 movement. Have y'all heard of this? Fire 2.0. I can't move the screen any more than that. Fire 2.0. Anybody heard of this? Chat. So I just found this through a random Google search. No? Okay. Well, let me show you how I found it. I put into Gemini, what are the 5 financial topics that podcasts are talking about? So my brother said something key to me last week. He was like, my sister-in-law and him, they were always like, dang, man, it seems like, I started out having a plan for this show and I had topics, I had things written down, and now it just seems like I'm off the cuff. They can tell because they know me and they just know like excellence, right? And it looks like I'm rushing every week. And then he asked me last week, he said, do you do your best work like when your back is up against the wall, like the procrastination work? And I said, yes. And he goes, I figured. Me too. Here's the thing about that. So my teacher in school, I noticed this young in life. I was like 5th or 6th grade. Maybe before that. They would give us a book report and I'd have 2 weeks to do it. And guess when I would be doing it? The night before. And you know what I'd always get? 100 or near 100 because I was jumping. My brain was firing on all cylinders. And to be fair, in the 6th grade, I remember I jumped on the computer and I actually tried to do it early. No ideas were coming to my mind. I was just staring at the computer and I said, nope, I'm going to change and I'm going to do it early. I got nothing. But I'm going to tell you, the night before, and it was late, the sun was going down, I was like, oh my God. No, the sun was down. It was dark outside. And I was like, oh my God. I jumped on that computer. Everything was coming to me left and right. And I'll tell you what happened. I used to get in trouble in school. So that's the background of what I'm about to say. I was at my locker. The door was, my locker door is open. And then all of a sudden I hear, Willie Lee Bryant Jr. I move the door and it's Mrs. Peters. And she's like, I ought to hang you up upside down by your toenails and beat you. And I was like, I didn't do anything yet. And she goes, yet? because I used to get in trouble a lot in her class. I told you. And I was like, what did I do? I just got to school. And so she was like, you act up in my class all day long. You class clown around all day long. And she goes like this, and hanging from her knuckles was the paper I wrote with a 97 circled with a message underneath it that said highest in the class. And I was like, oh, mind you, she hadn't told anybody else their grade yet because we didn't have her class yet. We had, what was it? Science in the morning, and then literature and science and math, and then literature, language arts. So she found me in the morning and told me, she said, listen, you should be a writer. I was like, I don't want to do that. And she goes, no, you're not hearing me. I read your paper. Instead of using all your energy to get into trouble, you should be a writer. You have a natural talent of writing. The only reason, I don't remember, she said the only reason it wasn't 100, but whatever it was, I don't know if it was late or whatever, but she said, this is perfection and this is what you should focus on. Funny enough, when I was 19 and I was in college, I started writing. I started writing scripts for animes and stuff like that. And I see exactly what she's talking about, right? But who knew? But I'm old and I have no idea why I started talking about this in the first place. But it'll come. Oh, procrastination. So I looked this up before the show, maybe 10 minutes before we went live today. That's how I found this, right? And it gave me number 2, the FIRE movement. So I said, what is this? Well, if you look here, does it say, yeah, financial independence, retire early. And I was like, what is that? So I started looking that up, and then look, y'all probably read it already on the left side of the screen, but it's an evolution of traditional FIRE philosophy adapted to post-pandemic economic realities, high inflation, and a shift in values among practitioners. So while original FIRE emphasizes extreme frugality, not spending your money on dumb stuff, saving your dollars, stopping the magnet from pulling a change out of your wallet, you tuck it and walk away, right? Because that's what everybody acts like. Everybody acts like there's a huge magnet outside that can pull paper money too, credit cards, debit cards, and change. A money magnet, as soon as you step out your door, and it's just pulling, you see all of your money just flying out, everybody's money flying up in the sky to this gigantic magnet. And that's exactly how everybody is too. The moment they step out their door, money's flying out. You know why? Because they're driving their car and it costs gas instead of walking or taking an e-bike. Well, an e-bike, it would still fly off because, you know, you would still have to buy the electricity or pay for the electricity, but taking a bicycle or walking to the store, which is like half a mile away from your house, right? Everybody drives and you're only getting milk, right? But the milk jug is heavy and you're carrying it all the way home. So I get it. Just get where I'm going with it. The moment you step out of your door, it costs money because you only step out of your door to go spend money. Let that marinate. Unless you're going to work. And even then, do you have a packed lunch in your hand? So you're going to get breakfast and lunch at a food truck or McDonald's or something. You only step out of your door to spend money. This is what you need to work on this week. YouTube, help me out later when y'all watch this in the comments. Y'all go ahead and put something in the comments. When you step outside your door, are you gardening? Because that's not spending money. You're watering your plants and you go back inside. Most people step out of their house to go to work, to go to the store, to go get fast food, you name it. They're stepping out of their money the door to go spend money. I can't even speak anymore. Anyway, so let's get to this FIRE thing. I actually might make this the topic of the show. I'm not going to delve too deeply into it because now that I said that, I think it might actually be just a great episode to do, but fine. Financial independence, next endeavor. Often FIRE 2.0 is interpreted as finding work with purpose rather than stopping work completely, sometimes referred to as the FIND movement. Balanced approach. Instead of extreme 70% savings, FIRE 2.0 often promotes more moderate savings, typically 30 to 50% of your income, and mindful spending to avoid burnout. Again, these percentages on what you earn or what you save, remember, the first thing you need is a budget, and you might have seen this tab, but this is exactly why I harp on this. Well, let me not get ahead of myself. Let me go through the whole thing. Participants focus on flexibility. Participants are prioritizing flexibility over freedom and freedom over strict adherence to the 4% rule, often adjusting for inflation and increased costs, living costs. Lifestyle design, the focus is shifted towards designing a sustainable lifestyle that balances work, passion projects, and personal time rather than just cutting costs. Because they notice, like, if you go on a diet, this is the last one I'm referring to. If all you do is frugality, and not everybody can enjoy being a minimalist. If you have no enjoyment of life, you are going to relapse, right? So it's no different than going on a diet. Going on a diet, you will relapse 9 out of 10 times, and I'll tell you why. Because you find no enjoyment in it. All I'm gonna eat is lettuce for a full week. Lettuce. I may have an occasional carrot, but I'm just gonna eat lettuce. And you eat lettuce for the first 2 meals, and then you're at Burger King, right? Because you found no enjoyment in it. Or you smother it with ranch dressing because it's just lettuce, right? And you find out later on there's no calories in it, so you got the sugar headache, the glucose headache. But listen, they said lifestyle design, passion projects, yada yada. Read that last one and hear my words. It's different. Yeah, so cheat meal. He got what I was getting at. Here we go, chat. The cheat meal will have many calories. You'll smooth the gains, fight addiction the next couple weeks. Yes, it helps you do all of that. So having a cheat day could set you back a full week. Having a cheat meal gives you enjoyment and the strength to keep on going. And most people don't see it like that. So being a minimalist, do something to have every once in a while, buy yourself a new purse, women. Every once in a while, dudes, get yourself a used video game. Every once in a while, go get some fast food. Get a meal. Think about something fast food you wanted and wait a week. And if you can make it all the way to Friday, go treat yourself. You know what I told my wife this past weekend, or it was Monday? I told her I wasn't going to drink soda for a full week. I wasn't going to drink soda all week. On Friday evening, I could have a soda, or I'll wait till Saturday. It's Saturday, no soda, no carbonated beverage. Touch these lips. That's for him. He knows what that is. Inside joke. All right, so look, the only way you're able to adapt this FIRE lifestyle, which it is the results of it is FIRE. I say that. The only way you're able to do this is through the basics. Now, some of you have seen this before. If you followed the Blacksmith podcast before, if you haven't, welcome. So I teach a series. If you go on my playlist, it's called The Basics. And these are the 6 things everybody needs before they can say they have their stuff together. You need a hard skill, a primary method of earning money. And that comes from having a degree, having credentials, licenses, certifications, or a trade, right? The end. Those are hard skills. Oh, knowing another language is also a hard skill. Soft skills. There's a ton of these things, but this helps you be good at the job, help you get the job, and promoted the job. So punctuality is a soft skill. don't have punctuality and be on the 90-day probation, 6-month probation, you'll lose it. So it'll help you get the job, because be early to your, or on time to your interview, right? It helps you get the job, keep the job. You need to stay punctual, especially throughout probation. You need to have a good work ethic. You need to have critical thinking skills and teamwork, right? That helps you get good at the job, right? Now it helps you promote as the job. Leadership. These are all soft skills. So that's what that is. 3, budget. You might have heard of it. You might have heard it mentioned in this episode. Pay yourself first. Invest and save. That's what that means, right? The step 4 is really pay yourself first, but this should really be in the parentheses, invest or save. The step really is paying yourself first, right? And we talked about that. Paying yourself first, so you have an IRA. So before you see the money, it goes to your IRA, your 401k, 403b, TSP, savings account, savings CDs, mutual fund, money market account, something like that, right? Credit, 3 bureaus. Know your credit score, know your credit history, check your credit report for accuracy, right? There's more to say, but this is just the basics about the basics. And time management. Time management is actually a soft skill, but I think it's one of the most important soft skills, because readers are leaders, but not every reader is a leader. I don't know why I said that, but listen, it's a soft skill. Not everybody will be a leader at their job, but everybody needs to manage their time properly. So what do you do with your 62? I'm not going to break that down, but I also have a video that talks about what that is about. But that's how you're going to get this fire lifestyle. You have to do these things. I'm going to talk about fire lifestyle next week. But the last thing we'll get to, because I know some of you want to know. All right, we're going to look at what that stock market do. That's what I'm going to call it. No, I'm not. I can speak proper English. I'm not going to call it that. So we just touched on fire lifestyle. I'm going to go over a quick overview of what that stock market did do this week. All right, let me just get my chapter down so I can, this will be the last chapter I do. All right, so if you look right here, this week the S&P reached record heights. That's right here. All right. Now let's go down. I put the top 10 stocks of the week. So Max Linear, I haven't heard of it, but it gained 76%. It is in technology. Let me make this bigger. There we go. So it's in the tech sector. Organon and Company gained 30% this week in the healthcare. Poet Technologies, 28%. And you can go all the way down. Now, Intel was one that Alpha Delta on here in the Discord, he was harping about. He got in. What'd you say you got in at? Or maybe you said shush on that one. So if you want to share what you got in at and what it's at now, you could talk about that. But he got into this one pretty deeply. And then AMD. AMD exploded yesterday. AMD went up like $41 per share. It was nuts. It was nuts. And he told me early in the morning, I was like, oh my God. I looked at Robinhood. It was up $1 in something, but that AMD though, AMD went crazy. Let's look at the Mag 7 since I wanted to be Mag 8. They say 8 world wonders. I want Robinhood to be a part of this and be the Mag 8. All right, so NVIDIA, it hit 5 trillion market cap. Oh, again this week? Well, it did that already last year. Amazon 3%, NVIDIA 4%, Meta 2%, Microsoft 2%. But don't miss this, right? Alphabet hit an all-time high. This is Google, right? Amazon closed at an all-time high. So it's different because you could hit an all-time high during the day and then fall off $10 lower than that all-time high. They closed at an all-time high. So they ended the trading day at an all-time high. That is awesome. So two out of the seven, two out of the Mag 7 hit all-time highs. So that's how the Mag 7 did. There's a brief overview. There are some notes on Intel surge, affected NVIDIA and Microsoft and whatnot. So Intel is really being revived by the president. He talked about investing in Intel, and if they got more government contracts, yeah, they're gonna earn more money. So Intel, they're actually pumping more money into it. It's an American company, and I told y'all the first time he ran in 15, I didn't really know what the whole MAGA thing was about, make America great again. He didn't really say, so people were like, some people are like, and this is going to be a controversial take. We're not going to talk about politics really, but I heard, oh, he wants to take America back to the time where it was racist, back to the time where women had less rights, back to the time, and they were just speculating, right? But this time when he ran, I heard him say, sure as the day is long in the summer, that he wanted to bring industry back to America, right? And whether you agree with him or his political leanings, I'm not here to talk about that garbage, man. Let's talk about what I'm talking about. What I'm TUMB apostrophe or TUM apostrophe B OUT Tom Bout, not Tom Bat, Tom Bout this week, right? Stay on what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is bringing industry back to America. Now, he did say that America's industry was at its strongest when GM and all those car manufacturers in Michigan were alive and well in Detroit, right? America, when we were industrializing, creating everything here, the economy was the strongest. The average man could, on one factory job, salary or hourly wage, pay for, run a household and pay for everything himself. Wife was homemaker, 2 kids, buy a home. The American dream was possible. You could buy a 1,300 foot square home or square foot home, have 2-3 bedrooms in it, have a car, maybe 2 with enough overtime and enough years on the job and increasing in wages. As long as you were not spending, you were careful with your money, you could pay for a whole household of 5, right? On one income, right? So you can't do that anymore. So that whole industry back to America. So I actually agree with pumping money into Intel if you think about it from that standpoint. NVIDIA is an American-made company. It's already flying off the chain. So is Amazon. So is Meta. So is Microsoft. So is Google. So is Tesla. So is Apple. So the Mag 7 are all American companies. So I do agree with that. All right, you're driving. It's all right, my man. Good to go. You bought 105 shares of Intel at $28.65. It's up to $82 now. See, look at that. Also bought 60 shares of AMD when it was just under $100. And I think that's over 300 and something right now, right? AMD, it's not in here, but I can show it on screen. Hold on. Oh, you said yes. Yes, it is. Yep, it's over 300. So you 3x your money right there. All right, so why invest is typing. I'll wait for your comments. But yeah, so that's how the Mag 7's doing. I do agree with putting money in American companies. I do agree with trying to get the economy stronger. We need it. I thought I might have had something else into the in this. Let me see. I think this might be it. No, that's the stocks of the week. Okay, maybe I meant to look something else up, but that's it. That's all I have for you guys to this week. I'll wait for what you got to say, Why Invest. Thank you again for joining us. We have some day one folks here, and I appreciate that. Oh, shoot, I already see it. You had AMD options early, 80 to 130s and 160s to 200. Oh my God, man. Yeah. I know you are going around like nah, I'm not even gonna say it. I know you going around cheesing though. I know see, because everything's funny with a pocket full of money. You know. I opened up the brokerage account and I was like, okay, this is great. Um Robinhood is still down, but it's in a healthy spot where I can buy more and my average will still be low. Because remember, I was getting into Robinhood when it was 7, 8, $9, $12. I think on average I bought it at 18.98 or something like that. It went up since then. I think I'm at like an average of $30 a share, maybe. But I will tell y'all something, man. Keep investing. This is what he's saying. You can't have it all at once. You can't jump straight to millionaire, but you can keep firing. Keep firing the correct way, and you're bound to hit enough targets or bound to hit the target. Um, yeah, my average is 34. And right now it's sitting at $84. I have 375 shares, so that's from me to y'all. So I got 142% growth rate on it. Now, here's something I'm going to talk about. The last thing, Robinhood has, before its earnings call, Q&A, and you can ask a question. So I'll talk about the top 3 questions right now. You can't see this, so just trust what I'm saying. And I'll have to close it's weird. I'm just not going to open it on the internet, on the screen. So question number 1, will Robin Hooders, I guess that's what we're called now, have access to SpaceX's IPO? Oh, let's thumbs up that. Let's thumbs up that. I want to be in SpaceX. Number 2, will Robinhood banking expand to all users on the wait list? Do you plan on adding additional services like Zelle? That's a good question. I'll thumbs up that. I'm already in. I was one of the first 100,000 to get their gold credit card too. All right. And what are Robinhood's plans for becoming less dependent on crypto trading? And I'm not thumbs up in that. Let's find one I would. Are you gonna pay dividends? I don't. Yeah, I'll up the dividends. Sure. All right. So that's the show for this week. Thank y'all for tuning in on Discord live as always. I love y'all, man. I do this because I care. You know, I could have played video games for an hour and a half on a Saturday morning. I got a wife, I got kids. I could have been spending time with them. Could have had more time at the gym, but I'm here spending it with y'all. And it's something I was doing anyway, and it's something I enjoy doing. So you don't ever have to feel guilty that you're taking my time. No, you're not. I'm giving it to you. So again, as always, listen, on Discord, please invite people into, not just on the live, but in the community. This is a server, but it's a community. If I could rename it the Blacksmith Podcast Community, I would do that. Please hit a like in the algorithm when it comes up on YouTube. Give it some views, give it a share, and bring people with you. Like, let's keep building this community because, you know, Alpha Delta's here this week, but this guy, he's been standing to watch. He's active duty and he is always standing watch on Saturdays. So he hadn't been here for a while and he was telling me that. And so his schedule has changed, so he's free. But, you know, thank God for guys like him because all week long we're always talking about how things are going in the market and what's the best moves to make and stuff like that. And he's here. Just bring other people because it will help them. I'm telling you, the way you're going to change your life is by changing changing things within your life. You probably earn enough money right now to be financially free, but are you allocating it in the right way? That's the biggest thing. What do we got? Thank you. You are welcome. Let's get at that 100. Go thumbs up the question about if they'll incorporate an Acorn. Yes, I saw that. I heard the guy who asked that one is a genius. Oh, okay, fair enough. I will absolutely go thumbs up there. I'll look for that. All right, folks, that's the show. The Forge is going cold, and thank you for another week. I'll see you back here next Saturday at 10 PST. Y'all have a good week.